Hi, Hallie. It's Aunt Nissa. I'm really excited today because I have a new place to read to you from. This is my new reading corner. I literally am in a corner, but I'm just far enough away from the rest of the house that I can just sit here and be cozy and read to you without all the goings on. So, I've sure missed you. I know a lot has been going on at your house these days, but we'll get through it all, won't we? And certainly taking a little time to listen to a story will really take our mind off of everything. I'm just really enjoying reading this book to you. And at this rate, it'll take us the whole school year. So, anyway, I sure love you. And here we go to start chapter 5, okay? All right. I was so scared I didn't look for any game trails to follow. I just ran the way I was pointed. Old Rowdy wasn't scared. He would have stayed there and fought those monkeys up until the moon came up. But he figured that as long as I was leaving, there was no use in hanging around, so he took off with me. It was tough going through the sawbriars and underbrush. My clothes got hung up a few times, but I didn't stop to untangle them. I just moved on, leaving little pieces of my shirt and overalls hanging on the bushes. I never did look around to see if the monkeys were after me, but I could almost feel the hot breath of that big monkey right on the back of my neck. By the time I had reached the rail fence around our fields, I looked like the old scarecrow in Mama's garden. I flew over the top rail and ran out into our field a little way. I stopped then and looked back for the monkeys. They were nowhere in sight. Rowdy, I said, I believe those monkeys would eat a fellow up, don't you? From the other end of the field where he was working, Papa saw me when I came flying over the rail fence. Jay Barry, he hallooed, what's going on down there? Are you all right? Papa motioned with his hand for me to come to him. After all that bragging I had done about what a good monkey catcher I was, I hated like the dickens to go and face him, but I just couldn't run away. He wouldn't have liked that at all. Feeling terrible, I walked over to him. As I walked up, Papa frowned and said, What were you running from, Jay Barry? And look at your clothes. Why, they're torn all to pieces. What happened, anyway? I couldn't even look at Papa. Poking a finger in one of the holes in my breeches, I said, I was running from those monkeys, Papa. I guess I got hung up in the bushes and tore my clothes a little. Running from the monkeys, Papa said. Were they after you? I think they were, Papa, I said. I didn't look back to see if they were chasing me, but I'm pretty sure they were after me, all right. Ah, Papa said, chuckling. Monkeys are dangerous. You probably just thought they were chasing you. I don't know, Papa, I said. I wouldn't have put anything past those monkeys. They're the smartest things I've ever seen, and they sure made a fool out of me. Made a fool out of you, Papa said. How did they do that? The little devil stole everything I had, I said. My traps, my gunny sack, apples, lunch and all. I guess they've even got my bean shooter by now. When I ran off, I dropped it too. I was afraid something like this was going to happen, Papa said. I've read where monkeys can be pretty smart, especially if they've been trained. It's not the little monkeys, Papa, I said. They don't seem to have any sense at all. I believe I could catch every one of them. It's that $100 monkey that I'm having trouble with. I thought all monkeys looked alike, Papa said. How can you tell the $100 monkey from the others? Oh, that's easy, Papa, I said. He doesn't even look like a little monkey. He's much bigger and looks just like a little boy when he's standing up. And is he ever smart? I don't believe anyone could catch him in a trap. If he's that smart, Papa laughed, why don't you just forget about catching him and try to catch the little ones? If you could catch all of them, you'd still have a lot of money. It's not that simple, Papa, I said. That big monkey is the leader of the pack. He tells little monkeys what to do, and they mind him. He won't even let one of them get close to my trap. Papa frowned and looked at me like he couldn't believe what I had said. Are you trying to tell me that those monkeys can talk to each other? He asked. They sure can, I said, and as sure as I'm standing here, they can talk to each other. Why, that big monkey even laughed at me. He can turn flips and somersaults and all the things you wouldn't even believe he could do. Oh, Japeberry, Papa said, you're just imagining things. Monkeys can't talk to each other. Whatever gave you that idea, anyway? It was getting harder and harder to explain everything to Papa. It seemed that the more I talked, the crazier everything sounded. But I wanted him to believe me, so there wasn't but one thing I could do. Starting at the very beginning, I told him everything that happened, from my first go-around with the monkeys until I had sailed over that rail fence. Papa listened to me, but I could see a lot of doubt in his eyes. He just stood there with a frown on his face, looking at me and then at Rowdy. Now and then he would turn and stare off toward the bottoms, and finally, as if he'd made up his mind about something, he shook his head and pursed his lips and blew out a lot of air. Taking the check lines from his shoulders, he wrapped them around the handles of the corn planter and said, well, corn or no corn, I'd like to see an animal that's as smart as all that. Come on, let's go ahead and take a look at that educated monkey. If I had found a pony and a .22 lying in the middle of the road, I wouldn't have been more pleased. As long as my papa was with me, I wouldn't have been scared of the devil himself if he'd had horns on both ends. Besides, Papa was as stout as a grizzly bear, and I just knew that if he ever got his hands on that big monkey, we would sack him right up. Just as we entered the thick timber of the bottoms, Papa reached down and picked up a club. I don't think these monkeys will jump on us, he said, but in case they do, I think I'll be ready for them. That's a good idea, Pop, I said. I think I'll get one, too. I walked over to an old high-water drift and picked up a club twice as big as the one Papa had. Papa laughed and said, what are you going to do with that? Stick it in the ground and climb it in case the big monkey gets after us? That wouldn't do any good, Papa, I said. It wouldn't do any good to climb anything. Those monkeys can climb better than squirrels can. You ought to see how fast they can get around in the timber. When we reached the sycamore tree where I had last seen the monkeys, I got another surprise. My gunny sack was gone again. We walked all around the big tree and really looked it over. There wasn't a monkey or a gunny sack in it. Are you sure this is the tree? Papa asked. Oh, I know it's the tree, Papa, I said. See that limb way up there? That's where my gunny sack and traps were. Now they're gone. I guess the big monkey took them with him. Oh, I don't think he could do anything like that, Papa said. But if he did, he couldn't get very far carrying that sack with steel traps in it. Come on, let's look around a little. Papa didn't know that $100 monkey like I did, or he wouldn't have said anything like that. I was pretty well convinced that the big monkey could do anything a human being could do. We walked all around the bottoms, looking up into the trees for a monkey. We looked and we looked. Even old Rowdy looked about and sniffed, but we didn't see hide nor hair of a monkey. About 30 minutes later, Papa wiped the sweat from his brow and said, it looks like those monkeys flew the coop, doesn't it? They're around here somewhere, Papa, I said. I know they are. I bet right now they're watching every move we make. They are smart, I tell you. They're the smartest things you've ever seen. Maybe if we made some noise, it would stir 'em up a little, Papa said. It's worth a try, anyway. You go over there and beat on that hollow log snag with your club, and I'll do some whooping. I walked over to the snag, spit on my hands, and started whacking away with my club. It sounded like a war drum. Papa started whooping. Rowdy didn't know what was going on, but figured that as long as we were making some noise, he might as well make some too, so he started bawling for all he was worth. Oh, can you imagine what a racket? We made enough racket to scare the hoot owls out of the bottoms, but we sure didn't stir up any monkeys. We listened and listened, but all we could hear was the droning tones of the noise we had made die away in the thick timber. Well, Papa, said looking at me, it sure looks like those monkeys have left the country. What are you going to do now? There's not but one thing I can do, Papa, I said. I'll just have to go and have another talk with Grandpa. Maybe he can tell me what to do. I still believe those monkeys are around here somewhere. It's not a bad idea, Papa said. If I know your Grandpa, he's not going to let a bunch of monkeys get the best of him. Not your Grandpa. All the way back to Papa's corn planter, I was feeling terrible. What if the monkeys had left the country? There just wouldn't be a pony or a .22, and that's all there was to it. Papa must have realized how I felt. I wouldn't feel too bad about this if I were you, Papa said. If you think those monkeys are still around here, I don't think you have to worry about, I don't think you have anything to worry about. I'm pretty sure that your grandpa will come up with something. Well, I sure hope he does, Papa, I said. Makes me sick to think how close I came to making all that money and then to wind up without a nickel. If it hadn't been for that smart aleck monkey, I would probably be worth $1 million by now. Papa laughed and said, I'll tell you what I'll do. If you haven't located those monkeys by the time I get this field planted, I'll take a couple days off and we'll both look for them. I'd like to see that smart monkey. When Papa said that, it was just like lighting the lamps in a dark room for me. I began to feel better and everything started to look good again. Okay, well, we're going to stop there for now, but I'm going to send another video because I didn't get you one last week, okay? So, see you soon. Love you.